everybody. Welcome to Agents of Awakening. Yay. Maybe some of you are waking up, especially if you're on the West Coast. My goodness. Anyways, Agents of Awakening. What are we all about? We're all about sharing stories and sharing people that we love who have built bridges to build, when we say build bridges, we mean like found a way to transcend the old patterns, found a way to like be so inspired by life, found a way to make relentless championing of their reason for being alive the priority, because and they're all people like you and me. It's not like if I'm special or Jeri's special, then we're all special, or none of us are special, but we're all the same. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friends, my colleague, my former student in flight school. Just so tickled to bring Jeri Matera to you, aka Jeri Matters. But I want to read a little bit about her. Jeri had been working Jeri's worked in the pharmaceutical industry for about 30 years. And she used it to, everyone's job is just an excuse to sprinkle fairy dust, right? So Jeri sprinkled fairy dust, didn't you, Jeri?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. She was taking everything that she was learning. And what better place to sprinkle fairy dust than the pharma industry? As she traveled the world for work, her rewards came from the deep, intimate conversations she was able to have with people she loves. Oh, and let me tell you, Jeri brought a beautiful group of journeyers together at her place, and we communed and had such a delicious time together. And it's mostly because of Jeri's deep passion for just, awakening the reason why she was alive. So Jeri, what's up today? How are you doing?
I am doing terrific. So good to be here. What's so special is just the casualness of, our relationship, our life, our little interview process here today. It doesn't need to be this huge, big thing. Like you said earlier, we don't have to be CEOs of companies, and we don't have to be doing these major, big things on the planet. It's where we are today in our relationships and in our communities, and just the little day-to-day things that we're doing to touch people's lives just matter so much.
I know. And you do lots of, it's so funny when people say little things, all those, when we change our lives just like a couple of degrees,
right.
It goes out like, so one of the things about you that I have noticed way back when you like get out of your own way, it's like way back. Right. It's like you're working in the pharma industry. You have all these beautiful relationships. I know you were successful at it because I know you love people and you love sprinkling fairy dust. So I'm sure your clients all loved you. But you had this kind of tickle inside that there was more to life. So you went from, can you share with everyone all the things that are meaningful that you're doing now that to me aren't just a 2% shift? I really think it's like a pretty big shift. You went from doing all that to tell people some of the really cool projects you started.
Right. So one of the things that we have to recognize is it begins with our internal shift first. So, there was that restlessness that was happening inside of me.
Yeah.
So I had to pay attention to that first. Okay.
Yeah.
And in paying attention to that, I started to really trust the more authentic me. And in trusting.
But wait. What does that even mean? Like how are you being inauthentic before, do you think?
Okay, so I think what happens in life is we come onto the planet kind of having a knowingness about ourselves. And through relationships with people and authority figures, we can tend to disown that part of that knowingness of ourselves because we think other people know better than us.
And so did that happen to you?
Absolutely. So there's like a disowning of a part of ourselves that happened, like early in life because you believed others or you wanted to fit in better.
So who did you believe?
Oh, I believed my pastor. I believed my parents. I believed my bosses. I believed my friends. I believed people more than I trusted of myself. So once I became more connected to what I will call that authentic self, I then recognized how much I just wanted to serve. I felt like I was taking, and now I want to serve. And so in serving, I have now shifted into volunteering at my Unity Church in Fort Myers. I got on the church board, so I'm doing my volunteer work there. I'm also I'm volunteering in my own community. I'm a big golfer down here in Florida, so I'm volunteering, doing different golfing events, and just also being with people. And then I started a small group of several women in my community where we women get together at least once a month and we talk about the internal work that we're all doing together.
Yeah, and you started that.
Correct.
And then that little project led to something else, because one of those women who's so cool, and oh my gosh, I was going to wear her earrings today.
Yeah.
So, and she makes earrings, but then you started a project, like a give back project. Can you tell everyone about that?
Yeah, so what several of the girls did here was they took recycled boxes. So instead of taking boxes and throwing them away, they actually took the boxes, like cracker boxes and cereal boxes, and they used them to create earrings. So they had jewelry maker, and several of the women got together and worked together, and they started to make these earrings, and they're so cool. And they sell them here.
And then what do they do? What does it raise money for something?
Right now I don't think they're giving money to a cause.
But they're recycling a whole bunch of boxes.
Exactly.
Making earrings. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So great. Wow.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you could get one of those old Wheaties boxes with famous people's faces and make some big Joe Namath earrings. So anyways, so Jeri, so what I hear is just instead of following the shoulds, musts, and have tos of everyone around you, you're actually following the threads of, come over here. It's like that little calling inside. And so what did you need to transcend? Like what was the biggest thing that you personally had to get over? I know there's like asking that question, okay, do you have 5 hours?
I know, exactly.
I mean, but what if there were, let's say, 2 things that were really huge for you? And I just want everyone to know that I've had the privilege, like the distinct honor of witnessing much of Jeri's journey because of that intimate flight school venue where, it's just such a tight, it's just so beautiful. And I'm actually even curious, even knowing you that well, I'm even curious as to what you think, like what now in retro, hindsight is 2020. What do you think were the 2 most significant leaps, or something you can give people that worked for you, that was helpful?
I really pay attention to how I'm feeling in my body. So that's really number 1. So when I really pay attention to that, and if I recognize that there's fear there, then I just own it and I just, pay attention. And if I'm not feeling good, I get to feeling good. So that's really the number 1. And I started to talk kinder to myself. I started my self-talk changed. So
how did you do that? Like what was the switch? Like where did that come from?
Well, I wasn't feeling good in my body. It's just like all of a sudden there was like, why am I beating me up? You know, enough people are doing that. Like, why am I also doing that to myself? So it's a more gentle approach to really falling in love with yourself.
Yes.
And when you really fall in love with yourself, you really get into the dynamic flow of the way things are supposed to work in life.
I love that. That it's like that saying that if a friend talked to you that way, would you still remain their friend? You know what I mean? If an outside friend, so what are you doing talking to yourself that way, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So, and what else? What would you say is the second? So what I hear you saying is listening, like you can actually feel that your body is communicating with you all the time. Our bodies are all communicating with us, but for you specifically, it's like you could feel it in your body, and you kind of used your body as a conduit to let you know whether it's like that restrictive or just what was going on. And instead of maybe perfectionist tendencies, you decided to just sort of not be in the default position and actually take charge of what you communicated to yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So what else?
Well, you know, you got to the perfectionism thing, and I think what happens is I think we tend in life to hold back until we think we can get it right. So I think I was holding back because I was waiting to get it right. I was waiting to have all the tools in place before I actually took this step.
Right.
Now I'm ready to just take the step and fall and, you know, kind of be vulnerable about that with not having it all perfect any longer. So I'm ready to take those jumps without knowing everything.
Right. Right. So it's like a willingness not to be perfect. You don't have to. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. I totally got it. Wow, girl. Yeah. I think I can relate to that disease. So for everybody who, one of the things that stops you, you know, you get that tickle inside. What you said at the beginning, Jeri, for me is just profound. It's like I realized after following all the shoulds, musts, and have tos of everybody else, like realizing all of a sudden it's like, oh, all I really want to do is be of service. Like I just want to. I was just having a conversation yesterday, Jeri, with someone. I actually was on an interview, and they were interviewing me in this case, and they asked me, like, okay, here we go. You know, if so they started talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how at the bottom is survival, and that's where all the shoulds, musts, and have tos come from, right? And then at the very top of the pyramid is, you know, then you can have self-actualization. You have to go through all this before self-actualization. I'm like, I don't think you do. I actually think you can just go straight for self-actualization and be of service and give back. Like, I think we can give back whenever. And I think that brings us into our heart and helps us to see our value. You know, it's almost like doing it backwards. So, yeah. So I love that you shared that. Yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you.
So, my dear, for those of you, you know, Jeri started a group. Her group started an earring making project, you know, that she is volunteering at her Unity church, you know, and on the board and sort of being of assistance with all of her. So I ask you, like, what if you said to yourself today, how best can I be used? Because I have a feeling, Jeri, that's what you're asking yourself, yes?
Correct.
Like, how best can I be used? What would be a fulfilling utilization of all of me? And do you feel like you're on the path, Jeri?
Oh, it feels so right. And the way you know is things just synchronicity, like the synchronicities just start happening in life. Like people just show up that you needed, you know, the phone rings and that's who, you know, you needed to talk to, circumstances show up. And so there's the ease instead of the effort.
Right. And do you find, like, what about that idea of getting it right or getting it perfect? Where does it go as you, like, I'm having this conversation, Jeri, because the thought is in my mind is like, I think that our conversation is really around being of service and giving of your heart is the path to figuring out how special and wonderful you are. You don't have to figure out how,
Exactly.
use yourself for good, and you'll discover how good you are. And so in these times of craziness, I was just watching something on the stuff around, what's happening in the people of color / police and all, just, it's really so polarizing. And, I was already catalyzed to do something. I'm getting together with one of my friends coming up, and we're actually going to talk about what everyone can do. White, purple, pink, I don't care what color you are, but something's got to shift, right? So it's like we find out who we are in letting ourselves be given to something.
Correct.
Right? And so what happens to perfectionism in that case, Jeri? What do you think has happened to your perfectionism? Where did it go?
Yeah, it really disappeared. And there's just peace that has shown up, and the willingness to just take steps no matter what.
Yep.
And if there are rejections or ridicule or anything down the line, you just don't even take it personally anymore. And you don't even let that be your stop, because you have something higher drawing you forward.
Right.
So that's like the small minutia.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, that would be the stop.
Well, all I can tell you, Jeri, is in witnessing your journey, do you ever look back and go, wow, look what I did? Or look what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because don't you feel like there's more? It's all going to go somewhere.
This is only the beginning.
Yes. Agreed. 100%. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed Agents of Awakening for today. Every Friday at 9:30 Eastern Time, wherever you are in the world. That's going to be really late in Australia and New Zealand for sure. And please use the hashtag Agents of Awakening. Stay tuned, because we'll soon post the group for a private group for Agents of Awakening, where we can personally share support, have these kinds of conversations, give you the impetus and the inspiration to be able to move forward on what speaks to your heart, instead of being in the way of that little calling. And Jeri, I just really want to thank you so much for just being you. I know, when we embody that bridge to the other side, everyone around your church is going to be so blessed by the journey you've been on, because you just keep speaking truth, I'm sure. And your women's group, please give them a hug from me.
Sure will.
And just thank you for being you and having the courage to just become. It's awesome.
Thank you for your leadership.
Yeah, it's a privilege, truly. So everyone, this is Jennifer Hough from thewideawakening.com, and Agents of Awakening is brought to you by Jeannie, Selda, and I, because we know that everyone has the capacity to not only live what they dream, but also to be the difference in the world. And we are the ones. No more waiting for leadership. We are the leadership. So, all right, you guys, love you. And thank you again, Jeri. Mwah, mwah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.